she'll say, now, what you say?
Hello. Thank you.
When I got my Christmas gift, she'll look at me and say, now, what you say?
Thank you.
Her interpretation of what you say would mean after I've given you something, you should say, thank you. I came here to Greater True Vine Church to let somebody know this morning that when the Lord gives you something, when the Lord blesses you with something, you are not coming here with a closed mouth, but you ought to come in here because you have some thankful. You got something to be thankful for.
Yes, we do.
Well, book says the withered tribes go up. The tribes of the Lord unto the testimony of Israel. In other words, Israel in the text is the form and propagation of what we would call the promised land. They're in another land and they're going through a storm. But the point of the whole text is they're going to the storm, through the storm, but in their visual, they see the promised land.
All right.
Let me rewind it one more time.
Break it down.
They in the storm. Their feet is not on their own ground.
Okay.
The promised land that belongs to them, they can see it. And the text says that what they're going to do is, before they even get in it, they're going to give thanks unto the Lord. Which means no matter what or where you're going through, don't you ever forget. Tell your neighbor, don't ever forget where you come from. I got to tell you, Greater True Vine, because some of you were members of the church that I used to pastor. Don't get so sedated now because you got doors on your bathroom. Don't act brand new because you had only one air conditioning unit working and now you got 3. Don't get brand new. Don't get brand new because you only had one parking lot where it was really you walked around the side of the church and now you got 2 parking lots on campus and across the street and you can park wherever. Don't act brand new. Don't act brand new because you actually got a fellowship hall that you ain't got to use for a Sunday school class, all-purpose building, praise rehearsal, all this stuff. Don't act, tell your neighbor, don't act brand new. Tell your neighbor, this ain't time to act brand new. This time for you to start saying thank you. Why am I going to say thank you? Because after all that the Lord has done for me, the least I can do is say thank you, because Psalms 91 says, I will give thanks to the Lord. With all my heart I will tell of all the wonderful deeds. Philippians 4:6 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your request to God. And watch this, y'all. It says, Psalms 107, let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind. 1 Chronicles 16:34 says, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good and his love endures forever. My question on this morning is there anything for you to be thankful for? I ain't hearing enough people. I am not. Is there anything for anybody in the house this morning for be thankful? How? My question is, what are you thankful? How can you come into the house of God and say you're not thankful? My question is, how many times have the Lord fixed your situation? How many times has the Lord showed up and showed out in your life? How many times has he made a way? How many times you got to learn how to have faith and take the proper steps to get you where you need to be? I'm done. But you got to take the proper step if you're going to head in the right direction. That reminds me of a story with a young man and his daddy.
Come on, son.
Young man was trying to climb to the highest heights as he could go. While he was getting ready to go, his daddy told him he always wanted to go and see Bruce Lee and go see where all this stuff was and all the Chinese martial arts and stuff of that nature. Keep it real. He goes and he says, well, son, for this vacation, I'm going to take you to China. Let church say China. He takes the little boy to China, and when they get there, the one thing on every movie that the boy seen, it was the martial arts person running up the wall of China. Great Wall of China is, he looks at the Great Wall of China, and it's over 500 some odd thousand steps that you're walking up. Matter of fact, they tell you it takes at least almost 3 to 5 hours just to get to the top. Young man looks at his daddy. His daddy says, let's get to going. He looks at his daddy with a smile on his face. When he gets a smile on his face, this is what he says. About the next hour comes.
Lord have mercy.
He looks at his daddy and says, Daddy, these steps getting harder and harder to take. But he says, each step, the boy stops. The daddy tells him, take one more step. He tells his daddy, Daddy, it's getting a little bit harder. Because the air, I can no longer breathe because it's getting so high. His daddy says, just take one more step. He gets close to the end, and they about 3 hours in now, and he starts to see his destination. But now his feet hurt. He winded and he tired. And even in the midst of his tiredness, and he's hurting, his daddy still tells him to take one more step. Can I tell you that what the Lord is trying to tell you what to do on this morning? That the trials of life is beating you up. And sometimes it's as if you can't breathe by the things that are hurting you. But I just came, to let somebody know that it's all right to take one more step. Because you're headed to where the Lord is waiting for you to be. And I wonder, is there anybody here on this morning that does not mind to get ready to take one more step? Because you've been going through your trials and your tribulations. But you understand that if you take one more step, you're one more step to your destiny. You're one more step to the promise. You're one more step to what the Lord has in store for you. So my question on you in the house this morning is to ask your neighbor and say, neighbor, is there anybody here that's ready to go higher and take another step? Well, why in the world am I going higher? Because if I go higher to the another step, when I take my next steps, that means that I'm putting those things which are behind me, and I'm pressing forward to the things ahead, because I press. Y'all ain't talking to me. I said I press towards the mark, towards the prize, towards the high calling in Christ Jesus. I'm not taking my step to just look good. I'm not taking my step for me to get better, but I'm trying to take these steps because I gotta go to where the Lord is taking me. Come on, y'all, let's ride. I wonder, is there anybody here that can testify to your neighbor in all of these things? The reason why you're taking your steps this morning is because you're more than a conqueror than Jesus Christ. Can I tell you that if you don't mind giving the Lord a praise, oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth enduring to all generations. Well, Pastor Phillips, why are you thankful this morning? It was a story like this, and I was in home. I got a phone call one day. They said to come visit this church. When I got to the church, they said that my brother of the ministry was cutting the yard. I got around to the church. The first thing they said was, do you like the house? I said, yes, I like I see things that I don't have in my own house. He said, well, what do you think about buying? What do you think about leasing? I said, well, this is my thing. I just want to know, do this house have praise? Because my church believes in how to praise the Lord. He said, well, wait a minute, Pastor. We are the church of the Nazarene. We don't run around like that. We don't jump up like that. I said, well, if you give it to me, there's going to be some shouting. There's going to be some leaping. Because we believe in the same God. But I'm not the cost of him. I feel that the Lord will make a way somehow. I get out of the meeting. He said, well, he said, well, Pastor Phillips, don't call me. I'll call you. So can I tell you what I did? I said, can I tell you what I did? I came every night and every morning to the church. When I got here in the morning, I sat next to the door and put my hands on the brick. Early in the morning, I said, early in the morning, I put my hands on the door. I said, Lord, you know this is my house. Lord, you know this is our new home. You said that you would give me the desires of my heart. And I said, this is my house. Late that night, I got to the church. People looking around. The cop came and said, excuse me, sir. Do you live here? Do you live around the area? He said, sir, are you the pastor of this church? I said, well, I'm not the pastor yet, but in a few days, I said, in a few days, I'm going to be the pastor of this here church. He said, well, this is private property. You can't stand on this property. I said, that's all right. I can go across the street. You might be able to stop where my feet tread. But my word says that if I open my mouth, I said, if I open my mouth, there's no weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. I done messed around and got happy. Tell your neighbor, do you know what happened next? I got a call. They said, Pastor Phillips, do you want to take another tour? I said, it's all right with me. I get to the church. They said, Pastor, what have you been doing while you was out? I said, can I tell you what I've been doing while I was thinking? I was picking. He said, what do you mean? You was picking. I said, while y'all was thinking, I was picking out my carpet. While y'all was thinking, I was picking out my paint. While y'all was thinking, I was picking out my table. Can I tell you what happened next? 3 days later, they called me and said, Pastor, we got a good news for you. They said, Pastor, we're able to give you what you've been asking for, but it has to wait until February. I got down on my knees. I said, I got down on my knees and said, Lord, this is not what I asked you for. They talking about later. I need it now. And right now, I'm tired of fellowshipping in another place that I can't call home. I'm tired of taking my people all across the city to have Bible study, to have choir rehearsal, to have men's meeting, to have women's ministry. I need, Lord, I need my own place. Can I tell you what happened? They told me on the day of today that when you walk into this church, it shall be called greater. True God, if I would have decided The Lord bless me to get where I need to be. I'm done with y'all this morning, but do me a favor. Turn to your neighbor and turn to somebody and shake your neighbor by the hand. Y'all ain't shaking. Y'all ain't shaking nobody. I said grab your neighbor by the hand, by the hand, by the hand, by the hand, and say neighbor, the only way I made it is because the word says, even through the storm, I took my steps, but it says weeping may, weeping may, weeping may, weeping may, and took for a night, but I can't play with y'all. When they come in the morning, do you have joy? I said, do you have joy? Don't worry, just take a step. Y'all ain't stepping. Won't you do my testimony and walk across the aisle? Can I ask you one question? Won't God make a way? Y'all ain't talking. I said, won't God? Won't God? Won't it make a way? Won't it make a way? Y'all scared to praise, ain't you? You mean to tell me after the Lord gives you what you've been asking for, He's giving you the church that you asked for? You mean to tell me that you can't lift your hands and open up your mouth? Well, tell your neighbor, bow the hand, grab your neighbor, bow the hand, grab your neighbor, bow the hand, and tell your neighbor, I know the Lord will make a way. Y'all ain't talking. Say, I know the Lord will make a way. You're scared, ain't you? Go across the highway and tell somebody, I know the Lord